Hello, and welcome to the Beyond Resilience Life podcast, a show about life adversity, how to overcome it, and transform your life. This is your host, Dr. Lydiana García, a licensed psychologist in Los Angeles, California. And even though my hope is to deliver information that can be helpful for you to overcome adversity and transform your life, it is not meant to be a substitute from being diagnosed and treated by a licensed mental health, medical, and related professional. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second season of the Beyond Resilience Life. I'm so happy to be back with you. This season is going to be amazing. We're going to focus on where everything started in terms of building resiliency during pregnancy, birth, and the first 0 to 5, with the hope that through this information you can get some knowledge to help raise a better and healthier future generation. Also, this is a great episode for you to explore perhaps some of the things that your caregivers or parents went through and some of the explanations of why you're such way, and also to promote that part of that healing the inner child or inner children. But before we go to today's episode, I wanted to give an announcement about the Healing Village. I know I mentioned it in the previous one, and that it included the community aspect, the coaching calls, the Facebook group, and all of that good stuff. But because a lot of you were asking me about a program that it was more self-paced, more on their own, that might not necessarily require or need all of that, I want to extend that to all of you. To let you know that at the moment there is an offer for that program, and it's an online course that is focusing on helping you work through different skills that will get you unstuck, will move you forward in your healing journey. This one is for anyone. It doesn't matter if you identify as a woman, as a male, as non-binary. It's for anyone that is in their healing journey and want to get more skills. And here's some of the skills that we're going to be talking. Each week, or how it's set up, is that you do it each week, but you can do it each month because you do it on your own terms. But the 8 classes or the 8 modules are the following. Number 1, the first module focuses on your future self, aka your real self. And that includes workbooks and guided meditations in each module. Second module is about effective coping skills. Third module is about healing the intergenerational trauma. Fourth is healing the inner children. Fifth is releasing guilt and shame. 6 is forgiveness. 7 is healthy relationships, and the 8th and last module is putting it all together and the next steps. So through all of this, you're receiving a webinar explaining each module, about like 45 to an hour class. You will also be receiving guided meditations to help you further those skills, and a PDF workbook to put in practice the skills that I was teaching in those different classes. So all of that to say that at the moment, I'm offering a special discount. And if you're interested, to go to the Beyond Resilience Live and click on the Healing Village. Today, I have the pleasure and honor to present you Emilia Ortega. She's a licensed clinical social worker and founder, right, of Corazon Counseling?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, so I am really excited because she has a lot of knowledge and works with a lot of pregnant, new moms, and postpartum. So I'm so happy to have her join us, our great episode about pregnancy health, because a lot of times we forget that it's important to also focus on those 10 months, because they're not 9 for most people, and to focus about the importance of that, especially now with this whole information about generational trauma and how in the womb a lot of things get passed. So I can keep on going. You guys know me, but without any further ado, welcome, Emilia.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me, Dr. Lydiana.
Yeah, I'm so happy to have you. So can you tell us a little bit more about you, the work that you do, and what do you love the most?
Yeah, so first of all, I'm a mama to a beautiful and energetic 8-year-old little boy who loves to challenge me in every way possible. And he's actually one of the main reasons I started Corazon Counseling. So the work that I do in the community is directly connected to the person that I am, to my motherhood experience, with my little guy, Noe. So yeah, I started Corazon Counseling about 5 years ago because I felt really isolated in the field of practice, and I wanted to create something where, mothers and families were nurtured kind of in a more holistic approach, mind, body, spirit. And also for me, because I experienced a lot of anxiety and some postpartum depression after I had my baby. I was very isolated. I was very alone. My family was in far away, and there was nothing out here. There was no services. I live here in Riverside. So this was a special little project that I was working at the county at the time I was pregnant. I left the county because it wasn't allowing me to do this work from a place of not only honoring my motherhood and being with my baby. I really wanted to nurse him. I wanted to make sure that I spend that quality time with him, but also in my therapeutic work. So then I started going to all these different trainings through Postpartum Support International and maternal mental health, and I became somewhat of an expert, or have this expertise in working with the perinatal period of reproductive mental health. So so then just last year, we actually opened up Corazon Counseling Service, Inc., which is a group practice / community space for all things perinatal mental health. We provide pregnancy and postpartum groups, childbirth education classes, perinatal law support group. We have the Leche League breastfeeding support group that meets here at our space as well. We have a midwife and doulas, and we have this beautiful motherhood circle. And of course, we also bring in the culture and ceremony, holistic healing such as yoga, Reiki, or you name it. It really truly is a beautiful place. And we're really proud that our core collective members are all Latinx, Indigenous, and Spanish-speaking folks. So there's really nothing like it here in this area. So we're building upon the passion of local birth workers. So it's been really nice. Yeah, and I love that. I think the direct impact that we're having to the well-being of the next generations by focusing on nurturing the mother, I think that's what I love about the work that we do.
That sounds like a heaven. Like my parents live in a town in Florida called Winter Haven, and I always got, like that idea of a haven, and that sounds so amazing,
Mm-hmm.
And I want to pause here and just say thank you for following your passion and following, because I bet it was not easy, because being a business
it's
owner,
still not easy.
right. It's not easy, but you did follow that calling, and because of you following your calling, you have created this place that people now are getting nurture, are getting all this alternative that I find that are so important. I'm very into holistic and all of that. So that's amazing. So thank you for your work. And Riverside is so lucky to have you.
Thank you for doing our little, a little something that we're creating here.
Yeah, no, and I love the name Corazon Counseling. It sounds like very, very nurturing too. So if anyone is near Riverside, I would definitely recommend going there and getting, support and services. And I'm pregnant right now as I'm recording this season, and I will still be pregnant when this episode comes out. But so I definitely, and I also have a 4-year-old, so I kind of know a little bit about this whole importance of postpartum, because that's when for me everything started. So, yeah. So I know we've already I kind of mentioned how important it is, but can you tell us a little bit more about how important is women's overall health during pregnancy?
So it is extremely important. Life is being created. Life is growing inside of you. This is another human being that will be part of the next generation. So when we really sit with that thought, it's pretty amazing. But it's also kind of scary too, right? The responsibility is huge to honor, respect, and take care of our overall health during one of the most transformative and sacred times of a person's life, which is pregnancy. So the way we take care of ourselves during pregnancy really sets the tone of how we're going to honor and take care of ourselves throughout our parenthood journey. But I really want to make sure that I don't sound like this is only the responsibility of the mother. So not at all, right? This is not only the responsibility of the mother to really take care of her health. Her overall health is, so as a society, we are also responsible. As a society, you would think that we would do everything possible to ensure that every single pregnant person has the opportunity to experience an optimal pregnancy, birth, and postpartum. But, unfortunately, it's not the case. We have a long way to go. The United States has one of the highest maternal mortality rates, if not the highest in the developed world. So sadly, this makes the US one of the most unsafe countries for women giving birth. So this is scary stuff,
Yes. That
Black or
sounds, yeah, no, when we add the statistics, it's like a reality check. It's really scary. And a lot of people, especially in the Latinx community, when they immigrate here with these thoughts and ideas of progressive, and, it's sad to hear that as a developed country, it's so behind.
Oh, it really is. And I think it goes really deep to, we know those deep root issues, right? Like patriarchy, colonialism, all of that. So I think getting serious about caring for women's overall health, even before conception. So let's just imagine what that would look like, to start building and creating those healing, nurturing spaces for our young women, right? Even before they become parents. So this is something we're looking forward to, and in the summer starting a project and collaborating with other groups that is going to be honoring the rite of passage of menarche, or when you start your moon time, your first period, and really start working with the women, young women at that stage before they become pregnant and mamas. So overall health to me really begins with our social environment, right? How can we nourish the seeds, and the seeds as being mom and baby, if the soil is toxic? So paying attention to the social environmental factors that are either supporting a pregnant person's health or contributing to their chronic health problems. So I can't ask her, right? Isn't it? I think that's really like a core, but some of us are talking about it, but mainstream isn't talking about it.
Right.
No les conviene.
No.
It's really, this is like layered, but I can't ask my mamas that I work with, I can't ask her to meditate, go for a walk, have fresh, locally grown organic food if her social environment, her neighborhood does not allow for that. If her neighborhood's not safe, if there's violence in her home, if there's no affordable or accessible food choices, if there's a factory plant around the corner that releases toxic pollutants, right? If there's no access to social support networks or quality medical care, if she doesn't have insurance. The list goes on and on and on. We fail our clients by making suggestions or recommendations before doing a thorough biopsychosocial assessment in her environment.
I think this is so important. Thank you for bringing this factor, and setting the tone as the first episode for the second season, because in this season, you'll hear a lot of recommendations, but it's important to start with that baseline of the factors around you. And that is key. And I know right now, as I'm also in the process of looking to moving, like I was just talking to a realtor friend, and I'm like, okay, it needs to have this, because I need that for my peace of mind. Yes. I need my son's school to be really close to the house, and I need it to be a really nice school in a school district, and all these little things. But I have privilege in that sense of being able to move. But, what do you kind of recommend then for people that are kind of in those situations that probably some finances are not available for them to make those moves?
Yeah, so first is recognizing that these issues are happening, right? That it's not their problem, that's not something wrong with them. And these are the symptoms that they're experiencing are a consequence, right? They're symptoms of a social structural issue. So that in itself will help them have a sense of agency that they could start looking at things from, instead of like, oh, self-pity, oh, pobrecito me. I'm like, but like, let me do something about this, right? Maybe, and this probably during the pregnancy is not, we don't get really active in our community to make changes, but that would motivate someone to start looking for a support group, right? Or start looking for who's doing the work already out there that, or where's a place that I could go where I feel safe, right? And then as you talk amongst those your peers, and you start sharing about like, oh, we don't like what's happening in our community. So like, what could we do to, what's the power that we have as a community to do something different so we could live in healthy spaces? So I'm really big on, I used to be a community organizer. So this is why I bring this up from this place, because the change is not going to happen until we really start working at the structure, or we start creating our own spaces, right?
I love that because it's like empowering people to get together in the
Yes,
community
yes,
and change things because you could do that. You can start creating safe places even within the home with other like neighbors and create like a social support of like neighbor watch and all those kind of things. And yeah,
yeah,
not
exactly.
waiting until the government changes it because
Yes.
that's gonna
We're not
that might not happen with how things are going right
Yeah, and then
now.
going back to our traditional ways of healing, our indigenous, especially in the Latinx indigenous community, we have such beautiful traditional ways of honoring our health, right? And honoring, especially this sacred. I really, like to use the word sacred because some people might frown on it, but I really think pregnancy and postpartum, it's a rite of passage, right? And our ancestors knew that.
Yes.
So they would honor it in such beautiful ways, and we've forgotten that. Like we're not now. We are like it's so beautiful to see all these like birth doulas and midwives and indigenous. I love it, and so it's happening, right? We're
Yes.
reclaiming and remembering these ancestral knowledge that it's at our core during these sacred rite of passages. So
Mm-hmm.
let's
Yes, yes. This is
happening.
all in my alley. I'm planning for my second home birth, so I have a
Oh,
midwife
beautiful.
and I don't know how OBGYNs with because my first pregnancy was also with a midwife, but I love
Mm,
that my appointments now are an hour and we talk about
yes.
everything and they're so gentle. It's so loving, what's going on with my life, with my diet, with my
Mm-hmm.
health. And it's this overall feeling of very different, not from a medical perspective of like I have something wrong. It's more talking from that rite of passage. And yes, super, super important. I'm so happy. And it sounds like you're like a very social worker in heart. I love hearing that part.
Yes, I
Yes.
am.
Yes. Yeah. So what are some of the important factors that affect pregnancy women's mental health? So now specifically more about, I know it's all interconnected, but more about mental health.
Yeah, so mental health. Okay, I really want to begin by normalizing some level of emotional distress, right? Some level of, anxiety, depression during pregnancy is normal to a certain degree, given the changes and the many uncertainties that happen during this time, right? So it's somewhat, normal that we experience that anxiety. Now, if you experience it where it's getting in the way of your daily tasks, if you're like super anxious and nervous, right? If it's prolonged, then it's harmful not only for you but also for the baby. So we know, and this is like research based, that high anxiety and depression has detrimental consequences such as preterm labor and low birth weight. Actually, there's so much research right now about how preterm birth is directly linked to maternal psychological stress, actually more than anything else. So
Makes
yeah,
completely
dressing,
sense.
doesn't it?
Yeah, because I mean, the whole NICU, I bet there's a lot of research about it, but
Mm-hmm.
how people just talk about it whenever I hear somebody that went through it, it's kind of like this matter of fact. Yeah, but it's not made. NICU is made to save babies, and that's great, but it's not made to nurture like new moms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is during like pregnancy. So when your mom's pregnant, so yeah, so if she's not being taken care of, right, or if she's not herself addressing and seeing like, oh, the psychological distresses, anxiety, depression is not normal, let me get some support. If her family members or community is not helping her, it's going to make things worse if she does have a consequence of preterm labor or some other consequence. You could only imagine what it does postpartum, right? So it is extremely, extremely important that we really look at how we start not only screening pregnant folks for perinatal mood disorders or any kind of emotional distress, but also having programs in place to support them, because we could screen them, they score high on the Edinburgh depression scale or anxiety scale, but then where do we send them, right? And there's not therapists that could be accessible to them, either they can't afford them or the therapist is full, like in case right now. That's why I have all these different support groups, because I'm pretty full to see one-on-one clients. So yeah, there's so many factors. So that's one. I kind of wanted to put that out there. But now I want to mention a few factors that are backed by research that are a direct cause of maternal distress and anxiety. So we know maternal distress and depression are normal, but then there's this other level that causes complications. Then what are those factors that are affecting it? The first one that I often talk about is relational conflict or domestic violence. So is she feeling safe in her home? Does she have a loving, supportive partner? Or is her partner abusing her? Or sadly, intimate partner violence incidents increase, during pregnancy. 20% of pregnant women experience violence during the pregnancy.
Wow, that's a high percentage.
Yeah, it is more common than gestational diabetes or preeclampsia, isn't it?
Wow. And this is something that, in general, doctors don't screen or people don't talk about.
Yes, you hit it. Yes, doctors do not screen. So,
No.
doctors screen for their regular health, right? Physical health.
Yeah.
But these are the social factors that are really affecting our mamas that we're not addressing, that we're not screening. This is another scary statistic that homicide is the leading cause of death among pregnant women in the United States.
Wow.
So this is why I say, okay, what's your social right? What's your home like? Right? Do you have a loving partner? What is that? Because this is an issue, and then there's a lot of shame and stigma around it too. Especially in our Latinx community that we won't address, especially when you're pregnant. There's embarrassment. The other one's isolation. Did you have social support? Does she have family members or friends that could be with her, that could accompany her to the doctor's appointments? So many times that I talk to my clients and they feel so much anxiety going to the doctor, especially if they had a traumatic birth experience or previous loss and they're pregnant again and they're alone. There's no one to accompany her, to a doctor's appointment. This is so social support is a key protective factor. Actually, research shows that. The other one is societal racism and discrimination. And, we've heard a lot, especially in these last few years, about how racism and discrimination negatively impacts the mental and emotional well-being of pregnant and postpartum mothers, especially, especially among Black women. But there's this research that just came out. I don't know if you heard about it, specifically for the Latinx community, that published last year. So found the number of preterm births among Latina women increased above expected levels after the election of Donald Trump. Yeah, so the acute stress of the anti-immigrant, anti-Mexican rhetoric and policies was so high, and then the uncertainty of whether or not their family members would be deported. All of these contributed to the psychological and physical distress that negatively impacted the preterm births among Latina women. Yeah, so,
this
right?
is huge. Yeah, many people might not realize, but this is all like super important factors to consider that none of them are being necessarily like assessed. Like right now I'm 24 weeks, so I'm about to do the whole gestational diabetes and all that. But yeah, none of these things are like standard.
So, and then this is what gestational diabetes, hypertension, what's the other chronic illness, that heart disease. I mean, those are all physical chronic illnesses that affect, there is really important to have under control. But see, those are consequences. Those are symptoms of these bigger issues.
Yes.
That's not the issue.
Yeah.
And that's the missing link that among mainstream folks in the medical, and I mean, just now we're starting to talk about the link between discrimination and racism and, the maternal mortality rate among Black women. But we have a long way to go. And that's what we have to talk about. This is when I get a chance to be on a podcast. I focus on this because it's
important. Yes.
It's so important.
And what are some of the ways that you address these factors or help them? I know you have support groups in you, but like in general, some recommendations.
Yeah, I wanted to touch upon just one little thing before. So then we have the biological, psychological factors, right, that affect mama's mental wellness. So the trauma in all forms, right? Previous traumas that they've had, depression or anxiety in the past, the pregnancy complications, and then any history of infertility, history of previous miscarriage or birth trauma. So those are also more the biological, psychological factors. So I kind of like to see the whole, right, biopsychosocial environment elements that or factors that contribute to emotional and mental distress. So yeah, how do we help them? So as a collectively here at Corazon Counseling, we really like to have a personalized plan using our wellness model. And our wellness model is very much looking at it from, again, this holistic perspective of mind, body, spirit, heart, and community. Right? We add community to that because without the social support and community, it's hard to do the individual things of taking care of ourselves. So for example, for the mind area of our wellness, I love to use art and journaling and exploring our beliefs and narratives of pregnancy and birth and mothering. Like, what are those narratives? Where do they come from? We explore it through birth art, through journaling. I love also the use of clay, like clay molding. A lot of times I have them create like their body, like their pregnant body, their body before they were pregnant and now their pregnant body. And they really get in touch of the changes that are happening, not only physically, but psychologically. So that transformation that she's going through, right, of her motherhood journey. So art is a tool that we use to support her. And then also the somatic-based techniques, such as attunement of the body sensations, the tapping, the simply asking, what does my body need? I think a lot of times really doing simple interventions that she feels a sense of agency, that she feels a sense of she has control and that she could do. So that's
so helpful. Thank you for sharing. I'm here like taking notes. Yeah.
And then something else that I like for the spirit part of the mind, body, spirit is I love to facilitate rite of passage ceremonies. So there's one that I love to do honoring the rite of passage of pregnancy and birth and postpartum. So we have like a ritual ceremonia where she invites, or the couple or the pregnant person invites their closest friends and family members. And we have this, beautiful circle with each direction, east, west, south, north. There's different elements that represent different elements and that represent a certain teaching, right? And then she picks her four madrinas that will give her that, help her, be her guide through the birth and postpartum. It's just this really beautiful.
Oh my God, that sounds really, really beautiful.
Yeah, it's just a beautiful rite of passage ceremony that is kind of like closes. Those that choose, of course, not all people that come to us want to do that, but some people just actually come see us because of that, because we do facilitate these ceremonial ways of honoring pregnancy and birth and postpartum and parenthood, right?
Mm-hmm.
In general. Yeah. So, yeah.
Oh my God, yes. Because I know, I'm so far away. I'm like, I want to get one of those circles support, but how do you, like, for people that are listening that are not even in LA also, like, how do, you recommend something about exploring their ancestors and exploring the rituals that they did, especially with colonialism and the difficulties of learning about this kind of things?
Yeah, so it's always really nice to connect with someone that could guide you to that, but sometimes I know we don't have access to it, but connecting to local indigenous Chicana or Latinx doulas, they're actually very knowledgeable in a lot of these traditional ways. Those that have more of the indigenous modality, they're actually now throughout the United States. I think it keeps growing and growing. But something really simple that you yourself could do, or the community could do, the community of mamas out there, is being still and having that self-awareness and to be in touch with your intuition, because it'll tell you, because it's in our genetic code, it's in our blood. We know it. We just been conditioned to ignore that, or being conditioned to not be in touch with it. So está ahí, it's there. So it's I would do like a simple, and there's a journal that I would recommend. Just don't have the name of it, but I think in I'll remember in a little bit, that you could follow to help you guide yourself, be in touch with your intuition. And the intuition your ancestors are there and they will let you know what to do. Yes.
I love this. I love it. Because it goes back to, going back to your roots, but being empowered that you don't have to stick it out. You have it inside.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Yes, it's reclaiming that inner knowledge.
Total reclaiming that. And it's not that we need all these experts, right? Including us therapists, right?
Right. No, yeah.
We just need to take some time, put our cell phones away, put everything else away, other obligations that we think are obligations, and sit quietly in nature. Sit quietly with the elements, right? With the fire, with the candle, and just look at the fire and say, with that water, right? Go outside and sit on the earth and feel the wind, the air. So including the elements as a way of connecting you to your ancestral your ancestral knowledge and that wisdom within is a really easy, practical way is connecting to the elements of the earth. And we could do a whole other podcast just on that.
My God, I know. Yes. This is like a really good topic, but yes, it's like that inner knowledge and the hard part, I guess, for many pregnant moms is that then they have all these ideas, but then they go to their provider and they're being like, nope. So it's like also how to advocate for what you need. And a lot of people like minimize, or because of finances, they go like, I cannot afford a doula or a midwife or this or that. And they just do what they think they have to. And there's ways around.
Yeah, and I think it's again, building that community. I think those of us in this work, we should also be doing a better job in doing more community outreach and education, because there's so many, when we were out in the community and we're talking to, the Spanish-speaking community, and they're like, oh, aquí hay parteras, aquí hay, they're like, so they're at awe that there's home births here and that there's midwives, right?
I always get that, yes. I always get like, wait, you're going to do it like how my grandma did it back there? And I'm like, yeah, my grandma also had a home birth back in Puerto Rico. So yes, I'm going back to that root. And they are like, wow, I'm surprised. And I'm like, yeah, no, this wealth of knowledge, that is back, it's coming back. And the midwives and that group are bringing it in a way. I love it.
Yeah, and we just need to do more outreach, right? More outreach, education, do like with the work that you're doing here with the podcast, like educating the community and talking about it. And then it's going to be back because, see, they're going to feel it because it's in their genetic code, right? It's in their spirit. They're going to want to. So I think we're reclaiming. Things are changing. There's shifts happening. I think the medical industry is a little scared here when you get doulas and midwives and grassroots folks together.
Yes, I know, but it's good. And as we're approaching kind of more of the end, I know you mentioned some of the recommendations, but do you have also any books that could be helpful?
Yes.
Out there?
So there's a couple of books here. One of them is called Nurture, A Modern Guide to Pregnancy, Birth, and Early Motherhood, Trusting Yourself and Your Body. That's by Erica Cohen.
That's one of the newer ones, right?
It is. Yes. This is the pregnancy journal. So it's Heart-Centered Pregnancy Journal, and it's Cultivating Intuition, Connection, and Resiliency. And this is from Nikki, Nikki Shaheed, Chaheed. And she's from Birthing From Within. Any books from Birthing From Within that I've trained in some other modalities and the birth story listening, and some of my mentors, Birthing From Within, Kathy Neff, the one that facilitates our perinatal loss support group. She is a facilitator from Birthing From Within. So we here at Corazon Counseling really follow that model. So I highly recommend anything from Birthing From Within for mamas, right? Because it goes deep. Are you familiar with them?
I read the book with my first birth.
Yeah.
The
other one that's kind of more practical and kind of mainstream a bit is like the one, What No One Tells You, A Guide to Your Emotions from Pregnancy to Motherhood. And that's by Dr. Alexandra Sachs. She also has a podcast, I think, called Motherhood Journeys or something like that. And then another resource I want to mention that's super important, and I think whether pregnant or postpartum moms could really benefit, is Postpartum Support International.
Mm-hmm. PSI,
PSI, yeah. So postpartum.net. And there's tons of resources for support. They have a weekly online. They have for fathers as well that might be going through some challenges. And a chat with an expert, weekly phone calls with the licensed therapist that specializes in perinatal, maternal mental health. So, yeah, those are some of the recommendations.
Yes. And in terms of any programs that you have ongoing, can you share a little bit?
Yeah, so those of you who live in the area, come on by. The best place to really find the things that we're doing is through our Instagram and Facebook page, Corazon Counseling, because that's where I post all of our events. So we have a monthly free breastfeeding support group that I really encourage pregnant moms to go to, pregnant folks to go to just to prepare, right?
Yes, it was so helpful for me. Yes, I'm going to go to another one soon.
Yes, it is. So it's the first Tuesday of every month that we have that support group, and it's at 6:30. It's through La Leche 6:30. And then we also have the Mamás y Bebés. This is an evidence-based support class / support group, Mamás y Bebés. Every Thursday from 9 to 11, it's free. We have childcare, we have free diapers, we have snacks, a $50 gift card when they finish the whole 8 sessions. So this is a really, really good program too. And again, encourage moms that are pregnant and postpartum 1 year. So that's our ongoing resources. And then for professionals, we are facilitating a perinatal mental health course specifically for birth worker professionals, midwives, doulas, lactation consultants. That's May 30th through the 31st. So I will be posting. Oh, and I'm working on getting CEU credits through DONA International and the lactation consultant. So they would be able to get CE units to come to our training. That's going to focus on how to hold space for parents who have experienced birth trauma, experienced NICU, experienced loss. So, and then from a very holistic, again, right? Social justice, holistic point, lens. Yeah, so those are some of the things we're doing.
And you guys also offer individual and family and all
we
that?
Also, we offer individual therapy, family, couples. We accept IHP insurance, Anthem Blue Cross. Right now, I am pretty full for the individual sessions, but we have associate MFTs, associate MSWs who do see clients at a sliding scale rate. So, which they're getting pretty full too. So yeah, we
need to expand.
But I like my balance of my family and self-care and
I hear you. Right? Yeah, it's so important. So, oh my God, this is an episode that I feel like I'm just getting nurtured myself as a mama. So I hope as you're listening, if you are expecting or soon or postpartum stage, or that this also was that experience, because I'm leaving this episode feeling very empowered about how it's important to reclaim our truth, reclaim, that we do have way more power than the society kind of implies. And by acknowledging and reclaiming it, we're changing not only a little, environment of our family, but also we can change our community, our society little by little. So especially around this time that there's so much going on in the world. So yes, thank you. And thank you so much, Emilia. And it was a pleasure having you. And I'm looking forward down the road, taking a little drive.
Yes, please join us.
Yes, kind of like, to one of this amazing.
Come to our Motherhood Circle. Yes. Oh, yes, we have a Motherhood Circle the first Wednesday of every month at 7 p.m. And it's just beautiful because it's from this place of ritual and ceremony and gathering in circle. And then we will be having childcare available. So I think that's another thing that keeps moms away from participating, right? Thank you so much, Dr. Lydiana. It's been wonderful speaking with you. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and for everyone, have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye. Our amazing guest, Emilia, also had this other great resource that is happening this week, this Saturday, March 14th, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And it's going to be in their offices in Corazon Counseling in Riverside. And it's a free community workshop that is called Preparing for the Postpartum Period. And the topics that they're going to talk about is traditional postpartum care, pelvic floor support, emotional wellness, lactation, and breastfeeding. So feel free to go to their website, Corazon Counseling, and to sign up. And remember, it's all free, and they also include light snack and childcare provided. Thank you so much for listening to the Beyond Resilience Life podcast. I'm so happy to have you here. If you like this episode, please make sure to review it and comment on it and share it with your friends and family. Until next time.